What's happening, everybody? TC here with Smoky Mountain Knife Works, smkw.com, and we are going to do a product demonstration for you. We finally got these in. Now, we know you've heard about them. We know there's been some experimentation with them. We're going to do kind of a product overview, kind of an unboxing, if you will, of the Precision Adjust Elite / upgrade kit. So, we're going to get into this in just a minute, go over all the details and what all this entails in just a minute. But before we do that, we got to do a little bit of maintenance on the channel. Okay. First of all, if you like this video, you got to hit that thumbs up button. Just go ahead and smash it. Just pound it like you're John Henry working on the railroad. All right. Now, second off, we need you to subscribe to the channel. We need you to follow us. All right. Can't tell you how much that helps us, and it's going to provide you with the information that you want when it comes to knives, your EDC life, and your outdoor life. So go ahead and follow us, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell so you will know when new videos are released. We usually put out anywhere from 10 to 12 videos a week, so we're putting out new videos all the time with new products. You don't want to miss any of that, folks, because a lot of it comes down to really cool new stuff or really great deals on stuff. So be sure to subscribe as well. Now, without further ado, we're going to light it up. So today, folks, we're talking about the Worksharp Precision Adjust sharpening system. Now, this one was released last year to a lot of excitement, a lot of fervor in the community because of its affordability and because of its function. So we've got finally the Elite kit and the upgrade kit. So I already had a Precision Adjust sharpener, so what I got was the upgrade kit. Now, the Elite kit is going to come with everything that you see in this box right here.
You open it up.
You open, and you're going to have your sharpener right here in a couple of different pieces, and you're going to have all of your different attachments right there for sharpening your blades. Now, the upgrade kit, if you're like me and you already had your Precision Adjust sharpener, you'll take this out. So your Precision Adjust sharpener would have come all set up like this right here. So this would have been your Precision Adjust sharpening system, and then your upgrade kit is going to come with the case, and it's going to come with the 3 extra sharpening rods right here. So we're going to get to those in just a moment. The Elite kit is going to come with everything that you see here. So we now have both of those in stock. Now we're going to take a closer look at everything that this entails. So you saw the box, which is really handy. I mean, that is super nice, really well put together, holds everything really nicely. I really like the fact that they're making the Precision Adjust very portable as well. I think that's really cool, especially with as much as we do with knives here and as much as we're on the go. That's something really special. So this is something that you can take out in the field with you. Now, is it going to be as portable as something like the field sharpener? No. That's still going to be one of the best as far as just putting it in your pocket and going, or putting it in a bag and going. But if you're setting up camp or something like that, or if you're at your hunt camp, like in a cabin or something like that, this is going to be a really portable system that you can take from your house to your hunt camp or something like that. Or whether you're moving it, like I am, from work to home and that kind of thing. So let's get into what all these different pieces do. So the original rods come with the ceramic, comes with the 320 grit and the 600 grit diamond sharpener right there. You're also going to get this piece here, which has the leather strop, and it has the ceramic rod. So the ceramic rod is going to be great for sharpening serrations. I know a lot of people are really not comfortable with sharpening serrations. This is going to make it a lot easier. Having that knife stable and being able to really see the angle, really feel it, that's going to make it a lot easier. Now, this kit is also going to add the 600 grit, the 800 grit, and a smooth ceramic right there. So this is going to be the fine rod. And then we've also got the coarse rod right here from Worksharp. And this one's going to have the 220 grit, the 320 grit, and the 400 grit right there. So that's if you need to do a little bit harder work. And I'm going to go through with some examples right here. And it's also going to come with this board right here that all of them are going to attach to, making it really convenient. You're not going to lose them. They're not going to get, bent possibly. So this is going to keep them all in one place, all stable. So let's go over the function of this sharpening system right here. So we've got our card in there. It's important always keep that card inside there, because that's going to have some rubberized grips on the inside of these jaws right here that hold that knife blade. And if you're not using it for an extended period of time, those rubberized grips can get stuck together. They can also disintegrate. So you're going to want to keep that card in there to keep them from sticking together and to keep them from disintegrating and becoming kind of nasty in there and not working anymore. If you lose that card, you can also use just another piece of paper, a piece of cardboard, a dead credit card that you don't use anymore, something like that. So first off, I'm just going to take a knife that I've got right here. This is my Case Seahorse Whittler that Clip Point Greg gave me last year as a gift. And what we're going to do is I'm going to open it up. The main blade here, I've used this one a decent amount. It's still okay, but it needs to be maintained. It needs a little bit of blade maintenance there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten that down right there. Get it into the jaws good right there. Nice and tight. Now, this one is not going to need a ton of work right there. This one is just going to need a little bit of maintenance. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the fine set right here. And I'm just going to start right off with the ceramic, because like I said, this one doesn't need a whole lot of maintenance. This one just needs a little bit. Now, you'll notice right here, you've got your angle sets right here. You'll have to do maybe a little bit of research. If you want to reprofile it completely yourself, you can go ahead and set that angle to whatever you want it to be. This is going to go anywhere from 15 degrees, actually just below 15 degrees. It doesn't have to actually have the increments there, but I would say that's probably going to be around 11 or 12 degrees, all the way up to 30 degrees. So it really depends on the angle that you want. Most of these are going to be anywhere from 15 to 17 degrees from the factory. And I'm going to look at this one right here real quick. So as I've got it set right here, I'm going to need that blade out a little farther. So I'm going to go ahead and set that blade out a little bit more, because I was bottoming out right there where I want the angle set. So now I've got the angle set where I want it. I'm going to adjust that knife just a bit. All right. So I've got my angle set where I want it. Now, the cool thing about this sharpener is you can turn this knife over really, really easily just by pushing the button in the back right here, and your knife will flip right over there. And that way it pops right back in, and you can do the other side. You're already set at the proper angle right there. Mine's a little bit loose. I did not tighten this down well. I didn't get it set in there really good. And this is a little bit more difficult blade shape. But this is to show the versatility of this Precision Adjust sharpening system here. We are also going to be working with a nice little accessory here that was sent in by one of our viewers. This was sent in by Tim Shanks right here, and this is an item that he 3D printed right here. And this is a really, really cool accessory to add to this, to add just a little bit more stability. So all you do right there is you put it underneath this arm right there, and you crank it up. It is threaded, 2 separate pieces, so you crank it up so that it's nice and tight up against that bottom right there, and it just adds a little bit more stability and make sure that that doesn't flex at all right there. So then you can go to work on your blade, and you can make passes when you're doing ceramic or even the sharpening steels. You can do either way. I still like to go the direction of the blade. So I'm just going to make nice, easy passes. I'm not really going to press down that hard. Just take it nice and easy. And nice and easy right there. You don't want to press down too much. You just want to have a little bit of patience and go with it. This is going to be Case True Sharp surgical steel. Their stainless steel blade right there, so it's not going to be that difficult. It should take an edge fairly easily right there. And you can even work back and forth right there. Not a problem at all. I'm going to look again, check my angle right there. Now you want to keep track of how many times, because you really want to make sure that you get even on both sides. You don't want to have an uneven grind on that primary bevel right there. So then we're going to turn it over to the other side. We're going to put our plastic piece back in, and we're going to continue to work that blade. Now, let's say we're done with that ceramic. Next up, we want to do some work with the leather strop right there. And this one I think is probably my favorite addition to this sharpening system. Now, this one you're not going to want to work back and forth both ways. You're only going to want to work one direction, and you're going to want to make even passes just like this with the grind of that blade, and make sure that you pick it up after each time. Now, this is going to come pre-treated with sharpening compound on that strop right there, but you always want to make sure that you go with the direction of the grind right there, not against it at all, because all that's going to do is cut into your leather, and you're not going to get anything done. Now, the cool thing is, and one thing that a lot of people don't realize and don't take into account, is the really neat part about this system is it's got really simple features built in. So you've got these rubber rings right here that is going to serve as a stop. That way, what you're not doing is running off your edge of your blade with your leather strop right there. You're only running out to a certain point, and then you're stopping automatically. Same thing with the stops up here on this end. You're not going too far and getting up to where the actual rod is going to hit the blade and damage that grind. So we're just going to make a few more passes here. Then we're going to turn it over. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Always with the grind of the blade, never against it, because that's not going to do you any good. You're just going to dull your blade that way. And that strop is going to stay set to the same angle right here that you had your sharpener set to. And that's going to be a really nice edge right there. So that's how you would normally just kind of touch up a blade. You know, if you had been using it quite a bit, needed a little bit of work, needed a little bit of a touch up, that's how you would do that. Now, let's say We're going to go ahead and pop that off right there. Let's say you've got maybe an old Imperial Camp King right here that you find in your dad's collection or in your collection that you haven't seen in a long time. You found it in an old underwear drawer or something, stashed to the back and the bottom. And you realize that as a teenager, you really killed that blade. And it's going to need some serious work to get back to it. Well, not to fear. The Precision Adjust is up to the task. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to get that blade centered, good and centered. This one's going to be a little bit easier to get set than that Seahorse Whittler was, mainly because of the thickness and because of the profile of this blade. Now for this one's going to need a decent amount of work. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and put the coarse set here. I'm going to go ahead and pop that in there, and I'm going to need to put a grind on this blade because we've pretty much lost everything on this blade. It could cut through something maybe, but not much. I'm going to set this angle fairly thin as well. I'm going to take it down to about 15.5 degrees. And I'm going to go ahead and go with the 220 grit right here and just make, oh yeah, that's doing some work right there. So you'll notice that the more coarse you go, the more you're going to get that sound right there. That's you reprofiling right there. You're really putting a new bevel on that edge. So you can even, if you want to take a little more material off. Now you don't want to press very hard. You want to still do the same thing. You're not pressing hard on this, trying to take more material off by putting more force into it. And this is actually working really, really well. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this piece out. I'm going to flip that blade over. And here's another way that you can do this too. You don't have to actually flip this piece right here. You can actually just take this whole piece out and flip it over. And that's going to slide right back in and be held in there magnetically. So now we're going to go back to work on that side just the same. Now I'm going to turn it this way. We're going to get some work done here because that way is a very great way to show the camera, but not a great way for me to do it since I'm right-handed. Once you've evened it up on that side, we want to progress through the grits here. So I'm going to bump it up to 320 here. Continue on. I'm going to keep it on that side because there's no need to flip it over because I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side too. So now I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to 400. Now that we've got that grind established, I'm going to pop this out. We've gone through all of those coarse ones though. So now we're going to bump up to the fine grit here, and we're going to progress from 400 to 600 now. Pop that in there. We're going to start off with 600. And you'll notice it getting smoother and smoother. We'll pop that over. Continue on with the 600 grit on the other side. So, yeah, we just got done with that one. Completely reprofiled that bevel and that edge. I didn't really redo the tip. I didn't make it a pointed tip. You could definitely do that. It would just take a little bit more work. I'm not going to show all of that on camera. But this thing did a phenomenal job, and this sucker is super sharp now. And a really, really good edge on that one. So that's not all you can do, though. That's not going to show everything that this thing is capable of. I've shown you how to touch up a blade that was maybe a little bit dull that you've been using. Maybe it overused just a little bit. Also showed you how to revive a knife that was really old and was basically a cheese or a butter knife. We've also got some different blade shapes here. So let's say you've got something like this Tor Chasm, this SMKW exclusive right here. Let's take a look at that one. So that's a nice, very defined Tonto blade. You might be wondering, well, how do you do something like that that's got different grind angles that are very, defined? Well, I'm going to show you here. So you're going to get your blade in there, get it set up. Now, for someone who's very discerning and you want to, you can set this up in there and do these completely separately. For most people, I think it's going to be plenty serviceable if you just set your angle where you want it, right here. So you can set that angle. Right now I've got it at just about right at about 15.5 degrees, which is going to be great for any EDC, really. And then now what you want to do with a Tonto like this is you want to make sure that when you're making passes, you do not go past that actually change in angles right there. So what I would prefer to do is actually start on that side right there. Start on that side and then make passes back, just like that. That way you make sure you don't round off that edge right there. And I would work this edge by itself, and I'll make it this edge right here all together, and then switch and go just to this edge right here on the tip and do them completely separately. Don't try to do them at the same time because you're just going to round it off. So do them completely separately, and that will grind them completely separately. And do each one, flipping it over, back and forth, all right? And you're going to do that throughout the entire process, not just with the steels, not just with the ceramic, also with the leather strop right there. You're going to want to do that across the board, so doing them completely separately. So it's just going to take a little bit more patience, a little bit more contemplation, but you can definitely do a really defined Tonto with a sharpener like this. It's going to work phenomenally. It's set up perfectly. It's actually going to be a lot easier with a sharpener like this than it would be to do it by hand, which is typically what I'm used to doing. I do most, I would say 90% of my sharpening by hand on a stone or with my field sharpener. Actually, most of it, definitely 80% with my field sharpener. So next up, you say, well, TC, what about a fixed blade, like one that you've put through your Will It Cut series? Got you right here. We've got that BK18 Harpoon Becker. Is that going to fit in there? It absolutely is. So we're going to open that up nice and wide. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, but it absolutely fits in there. No problems. You say, well, does it have the range of motion to get to all parts of that blade? Set your angle right there. You can even check it with the bevel. See where it's making contact. We've got it from the sharpening choil right there all the way out to the tip. That's the beauty of how this sharpening system is made. So we can swing back and forth right here, and I'm gonna set it up so that I can do it right-handed here. And you can even do little circular patterns, just like if you're doing it with a rod right there. Now, one mistake that I see a lot of people make is they say, oh, well, I want my knife to be really slicey, so I don't really care what the angle of the bevel was before. I want this to be, 11 degrees, like a kitchen knife or something. Well, first of all, you're really doing yourself a disservice with your edge geometry, or maybe you just want to take it down to 14 degrees. And a lot of people don't realize how drastic of a difference that is from an angle, a typical factory edge, which is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 17 degrees. So they don't realize what they're doing when they do that. What you're really doing, especially with a sharpener like this, when you do that, is when you set that angle up too low, you're not even coming close to touching that bevel. You're ending up like this, and you're only sharpening right up here past the bevel. And it's going to take a long time before you actually take enough material off to get down to where you're actually on the edge right there. So you really have to look and pay attention. That's what I see a lot of people do. The mistake I see most people making right there is, they want to decrease the angle because they want something more slicey, but they don't take into account what that actually means from an angle perspective, and they don't actually look at it. They just set the angle and just go to town, and then they don't actually end up sharpening their knife. They just end up, taking some material off here and there and don't do anything to the knife itself. Now this knife was already decently sharp, just needed a little bit of a touch up. So that's what I'm doing on this particular one. Go ahead and stop right there. Continue on with this side right here. Now you're probably thinking, what about leather stropping a fixed blade like that? Not a problem. You're all set up. Now you might have to adjust your stops on your rod right here, but that's not an issue because all you're going to do is take it and again, just go against the grain and make nice passes. Now, if you want to break it down in sections of the blade, just make sure you do the same amount of passes in each section. But a lot of times, I'll like to do like maybe this section of the blade first, and I'll count my passes. And then what I'll do is I'll move on to this section of the blade right here and do the same thing. It's sometimes a little bit easier to do it that way, and makes it a little bit easier as far as the stroke that you're using right there. And now we've got that puppy sharp again. Took no time at all, and that sucker is nice and smooth right there. So, you see, it's not only a great system, but it's extremely versatile in what you can do with it. Coupled with the fact that it's a very affordable package that's going to allow you to take care of all of your knives, regardless of what you need to do to them. Folks, let us know in the comments down below what you think of this sharpening system. And if you've had any experience with it, have you tried the upgrade kit? If you haven't, you need to get your hands on one. We're going to have a link in the description below to all three: the original Precision Adjust, the Elite kit, and the upgrade kit. So check them out in the description below, and let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know if you have any experience with this and what your experience has been. Again, also check out Tim Shanks and his 3D printed little stabilizer right here. That is a very, very valuable tool right there that definitely helps. Folks, as always, it's been me, TC, here with Smoky Mountain Knife Works. And remember, if it cuts like something sharpened with a Precision Adjust from Worksharp, then we carry it.